Hey guys, it's Mrs. Berger, your friendly librarian. Welcome back to school. The books have missed you, and so have I. You probably haven't been by the library yet, and if you have, you might not have seen me. I'm a busy lady. But I wanted to take a second and check in with you guys. I want to talk to you guys about this year's Truman Award nominee books. They're named after this guy. His name's Harry Truman, and he was a famous president from Missouri, the only president that's been from Missouri. And the award was named after him, but he is dead, so he didn't write any of these books. These books are books that have been selected by teachers, librarians, and students all over the state of Missouri to be the 12 best books for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders for this year. And I've read a bunch of them, and I'm telling you, they are awesome. So let's take a second and dive into these books.
Starfish by Phipps, a poetry excerpt from I'm Ellie. In English class, Mrs. Boardman asks us to sum up what we've read with our favorite quotes from the book. I know just the quote. From Song for a Whale, I raise my hand, and she calls on me. The whale didn't need to be fixed. He was the whale who sang his own song. That really hit home. That's what the best books do. They make you think and rethink how you see yourself, others, and the world. Most of all, they make you feel. Feelings towards people who aren't like you. Feelings you didn't know you had. Ellie is a 12-year-old girl from Starfish by Phipps, but most people don't even know her real name and just call her Splash. They call her Splash because she is excessively overweight. Her one true best friend at school is moving away, her refuge and her safe place when the bullying is too much, and now she's leaving. Ellie is horrifically bullied at school, with students making tidal wave motions as she walks down the hall and making splish-splash sounds whenever she's around. In her words, school lunch is for bullies to dine on their prey. I stare down the hall, Katnissing in the Hungry Games, wanting nothing more than to get out alive. But the worst bully of all is her own mother, who posts articles and weight loss management tips all over the house, checks Ellie's weight obsessively, and is constantly searching her room and her backpack for food contraband. Her dad is a ray of light and hope in her life. Dad always had my back, not the knife in it. Her dad takes her to see a psychologist who has unconventional ways to get Ellie to open up and face the trauma she's been through because of her weight. Facing feelings is like swimming in a stormy ocean. One wave of emotion hits, and then another and another, until I feel like I'm drowning. Her psychologist says, that's why you're going to learn how to face each feeling as it comes. So you just have to face one wave at a time, not an ocean. Will Ellie be able to take control of her life and in the process her weight? Will she finally be able to confront her mom about her true feelings? And will she be able to take up her space in the world by what she calls starfishing and open herself up to a new friendship? Read Starfish today by Phipps.
Hi, I'm Alan Gratz, the author of Ground Zero. September 11th was a brilliant fall day in New York City. The sky was bright blue, it was cloudless, the air was crisp. It was a gorgeous day. Ground Zero is the story of the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks. It's told from the point of view of two different kids. The first is 9-year-old Brandon. He is in the North Tower of the World Trade Center on September 11th when the first plane hits. He's just gotten into the elevator and he's about 20 floors away from the top of the building when, boom, the whole building shakes. A plane has flown into the building just above him, and now Brandon has to try and figure out how he is going to survive and see if he can save his dad. The other story that's woven in with Brandon's is that of Reshmina. She is 11 years old, she lives in Afghanistan, and she is suffering through her own version of 9/11 in the present day as her village becomes a battleground between the United States and the Taliban, who are still fighting a war in Afghanistan because of what happened on September 11th, 2001. For years, young readers have been asking me to write a book about 9/11. The way it impacted me and almost every American that I know, it's made 9/11 really difficult to think about and talk about and remember. Brandon and Rashmina are two kids who believe they are strong enough to meet any challenge, and they are strong characters. But what they learn is that sometimes the world is too much for you to deal with on your own. And what you have to do is you have to find friends, you have to find allies, you have to come together as a community and overcome challenges together. Everybody remains strong individually, but sometimes we need help. And that's really, I think, one of the ultimate messages of Ground Zero, is that it's not me against the world. It's all of us working together to overcome everything that the world can throw at us. Look for my book.
I'm the girl no one is supposed to remember. My family and I never stay in one place for too long. Even my name and how I look is always changing. And it's all because we're in the witness protection program. Or at least, that's what I was told. Turns out, after living a life of lies, my parents were the ones telling me the biggest lie of all. But now, they've disappeared. And my only chance to get some answers is with the help of a secret agent who can't be trusted, and a boy who shouldn't trust me. Together, we have to find my parents and discover who I really am, because the truth can't stay concealed forever.
Ash is just a normal 11-year-old boy growing up in ancient Egypt. He thinks his life is boring, and he thinks it's always going to be boring, until the night before his 12th birthday, when he finds out that he has the exact same birthday as Prince Khufu. This means Ash can compete to become the Shadow Prince. On his 12th birthday, he gets on a barge and heads all the way to the capital city. Ash must compete in 5 life-threatening challenges against other boys who also want to become the Shadow Prince. It's dangerous, and he's not sure who he can trust. Can Ash survive, even if there's a god working against him? Read The Shadow Prince to find out.
When Daddy took us away from home to the far northwest, to the small town in the mountains of Montana, we didn't know about cold and snow. And living in a car. So when Daddy disappeared and left us alone, all I had were wishes. And whatever I could do to keep us safe.
It's been 24 hours since my life changed forever. How is any of this, real?
Amari Peters.
12-year-old Jolene is used to taking care of herself. When a car accident severely injures her mother and causes her to slide into drug addiction, Jolene is both upset with and fiercely protective of her, despite their descent into poverty and sometimes even homelessness. Jolene takes refuge from the Phoenix heat in the library each day, where she reserves travel books and draws maps, but she also follows live streamer Addie Earhart's aerial adventures. Addie is grieving the loss of her father and flying their ultralight plane alone in the desert without her mother's knowledge. The lonely pair of girls form a friendship, but one day Addie crash lands and the impact cuts off her live stream feed. Jolene can't get anyone to go search for her, but she has a pretty good idea of where Addie might be. Realizing that she is the only one who knows about the accident, Jolene gathers some supplies and sets out by bus to find Addie. Can Addie and Jolene survive the Arizona desert? Can they overcome their personal losses? Read Across the Desert to find out.
Imagine you are a world-famous author. Everyone knows who you are and loves your book series. But while the world is waiting for the last book in your series, you get writer's block. This is what it is like for Bob, which caused him to have to push his book back many years. The fans were growing impatient, and some decided to turn on him and take matters into their own hands. Bob's secretary and her son, Derek, decide to do whatever it takes to get him to write the final book. So they kidnap him. Derek plans to sell the book on the dark web and tells Bob he can be released when the book is finished. But Bob does have hope. His assistant Bridget realizes she hasn't heard from him in a while. Will Bridget be able to piece together what has happened in order to save him before Derek grows impatient? Find out in Eyes of the Forest.
Meryl Lee's best friend has just died, and her parents have sent her off to a boarding school where she stands out like a sore thumb, surrounded by wealthy kids who have everything. She feels like she has nothing. Matt is on the run from a dangerous gang and trying to stay alive. By total fortune, he ends up in the exact same town as Meryl Lee. Both teenagers feel alone, but it turns out their friendship might be exactly what they need to survive these difficult times. Read Just Like That by Gary Schmidt. This is the same author that wrote Orbiting Jupiter, so if you like sad realistic fiction, this one's for you.
Lucy has never been completely sure how long her brother Theo would live, so she's always relied on math for correct answers. His heart defect resulted in him spending almost his entire life in the hospital.
But when her brother Theo dies and her family moves across the country,
Lucy feels as if she doesn't know anything anymore.
to make everything harder, the kids at her new school suffered from a school shooting.
But after Lucy finally makes a friend, everybody just starts to ignore her. It all just seems so impossible.
Will her world come crashing down, or will she find where she belongs?
Read Aftermath to find out.
Well, guys, thanks for hanging out with me and checking out this year's Truman Award nominee books. We have multiple copies of every one of these books in the library, but we also have a new online app that you can read these books through. So download the Sora app, stop by the library and get a flyer to see how to log in. It's just your Google account, and you can read these books on audio. That's right, reads it to you, or on ebook. You can download this on any tablet or device you have, and you can even access it from your laptop. I'll see you soon in the library.